We are opening up for the last trading day of the week here in Europe as the markets get set to go on holidays for the Easter long weekend. All about to regroup back on Tuesday. So expect very thin trade today. It might just be a little bit choppy. The futures this morning have been indicating a negative start, and that red is starting to march up very quickly onto these charts today. It has been a bit of a challenging week for global investors. The dollar has been well and truly in focus, starting to march higher as the Fed officials keep on communicating to us that April could be a live meeting for the Fed as it is trying to reset expectations around 2 interest rate hikes. The trick seems to be working because the dollar's certainly been higher, and that's been very negative for the commodities trade. And right here in Europe yesterday, we saw the mining sectors under pressure. You can see the stock Strip 600 down about 0.5% as the starting position, and basic resources, the weakest sector as we begin the trading day, sliding very rapidly down 2+%. Every stock in that basket is in negative territory. Oil and gas prices suffering today as the spot price is on the back foot. We've got a drop of about 1% in Brent prices today as we start our trade, down 1.5% on crude. So oil stocks are suffering on the weaker spot price today. Media stocks joining the mix in terms of the underperformers, down 0.7%, along with insurance stocks. Fairly decent percentage declines taking place out of the gates. Real estate's down 0.5%. The so-called defensive basket dropping about the same amount out of the gates, down 0.5%. The big names, the likes of Diageo, in negative territory today. Utilities weaker, chemicals, these are the two top performers here, healthcare and chemicals, but both are still weaker today, down 0.33% on chemicals. Healthcare sliding about 0.25%. The individual indices, there's been a fairly choppy trading pattern in the last 24 hours. For instance, the French market was weaker, but there were gains on the FTSE and the DAX. It was enough so to take the DAX above 10,000 points in the session yesterday, but it has succumbed to the pressure today, dropping back below that level, down 55 points early on. And the FTSE, you can see marking even bigger gains out of the gates, down just over 0.8%. On the periphery, similar size declines being posted on the Italian market and the Spanish market. We're still not getting a print. There you go. First up, the Swiss market down in lockstep with the rest of these markets here in Europe. Well, the stronger dollar has been weighing on commodity stocks in Asia today. Here are how the miners are shaping up here in Europe. The likes of BHP Billiton, for instance, and Rio Tinto were down about 3.5%. So you can expect similar sized losses in the sector here today. We haven't got the wall to show you, but we will come back to that and take a peek right across the board for you at the big names here in Europe. Banking stocks. Let's take a look at that. Here we go, all in the red. The deepest falls we're seeing are for Banco Popular today, and I'll get into the news flow around that. But you can see Bankia is down in Spain. We've got some losses notching up in France on Credit Agricole, down 1.2%.